The rough grey dog man. The story of the earliest English cannibal is, surprisingly, to be found amongst the threads of myth and legend which make up the great romance of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. According to these tales, Arthur was a chieftain who united the British tribes, the Cymry, who had been driven to the west of England by the Saxon invaders, and in so doing became the champion not only of his people but also of Christianity. The tales of Arthur's exploits are surrounded by a halo of chivalry and heroics. He is supposed to have been born in Tintagel Castle in Cornwall and thereafter lived in Caerleon, Wales. I hope I don't have to say that one again. From this base, he maintained a stubborn opposition to the Saxon marauders, supported in his endeavors by a group of brave knights and the love of his beautiful wife, Guinevere. He also allegedly embarked on various quests, slew a number of supernatural creatures, and conquered several lands. The king was finally betrayed by his wife and closest knight and fatally wounded at the Battle of Camlan. Thereafter, so the story goes, he was taken to the Isle of Avalon, where, as a hero, he became one of the immortals, and waits to be called again in the hour of his country's needs. Beneath these fables about the hero's life, there is certainly a substrata of truth, in particular concerning the Saxon oppressors who made life so appalling for the Britons under their merciless rule. Of Arthur himself, it seems probable that he was the most visible of the victorious battle leaders against the Saxons and lived at some period during the 6th century. There are, though, no specific details of his battles or his triumphs against the pagan invaders. Much of the Romantic literature which has subsequently grown up around him can be traced no further back than the 20th century and is considered by several historians merely to reflect earlier folk traditions and mythological concepts about hero kings possessing supernatural powers. Amongst the Saxons in Britain at this period of history, however, was one extremely degenerate group about whom we know rather more. They were led by a man named Gar. Wow. Let's just call him Gigi, which translates literally as the rough gray tongue-tied right now, which translates literally as the rough gray dog man. According to a triad, a group of 6th century Welsh stories, Gigi and his confederates were not only traitors for the British cause, but cannibals as well. To quote from a translation of the Historical Triads of the Isle of Britain, 3rd series, number 45. Oh, all these unfamiliar words. Well, names of places, not words. I'm pretty familiar with most words. There were three errant traders who were the cause of. There were three errant traders who were the cause that the Saxons took the crown of the Isles of Britain from the Cymry. One was Mordred, who was who with his men became one with the Saxons to secure himself the kingdom against Arthur, and by reason of that treachery, many of the Logruese, the British, became Saxons. Secondly, there is Aidan, the traitor of the north, who gave himself and his men within the limits of his dominions to become Saxons, so as to be able to maintain themselves in usurpation and depredation under the protection of the Saxons. Holy crap, I'm so sorry. The third of these men, the triad indicated, made the other two pale into insignificance. He was Gigi, who was after getting a taste for human flesh at the court of unpronounceable king of the Saxons, liked it so much that he would eat nothing but human flesh ever afterwards, and therefore he and his men united themselves with unpronounceable so that he used to make secret incursions among the nation of the Simri to satisfy his degraded palate. Because of these three errant traders, the Simri lost their land and their crown in unpronounceable England. Uh, and if it had not been for these treacheries, the Saxons could not have gained the island from the Simri. Other triads from the same era, which were first translated in the middle of the last century, supply further information about the flesh eating habits of the rough grey dogman. For when Gigi and his men made their furtive incursions into the strongholds of the Britons, usually under cover of darkness, they concentrated on snatching youthful victims. They took male and female of the young, says one triad, as many of the Gigi as many as Gigi ate daily, and they devoured daily 2 bodies of the Simri at their dinner and 2 at their supper. And soon all the lawless men of the nations of the Simri hastened to him and the Saxons, where they obtained their fill of prey and spoils from the natives of this isle. Descriptions of these cannibals and their prey indicate that the men only stunned their victims when capturing them and then kept them alive until they wanted to eat them. On some occasions, limbs would be literally torn from bodies while the victims were still alive in order that the roasted meat was of the freshest for their tables. There seems no doubt that Unpronounceable, the Saxon ruler, was an equally bloodthirsty cannibal, although there is only one specific report to support this claim. Unpronounceable, the king of Unpronounceable, required every night 2 noble maidens of the nation of the Simri and violated them. The following morning he slew them and ate them. Small wonder, then, that this cannibal lecher should have approved of the rough grey dogman marrying his sister, as another triad informs us. Gigi was married to the sister of Unpronounceable and committed treachery and murder conjointly with Unpronounceable upon the nation of the Simri. Gigi kills a male and a female of the Simri daily and devoured them. And on the Saturday, he killed 2 of each so that he might not kill on the Sunday. Well, how devout of him. There are few more bizarre twists in the history of flesh eating than the idea of a Sabbatarian cannibal, and it has been suggested that a Saxon with a weaker stomach or marginally more delicate sensitivities had tried to curb the man's excess by suggesting that he should keep holy on the Sabbath day. Nonetheless, the rough grey dog man still ate his cannibal feast every Sunday. Mm-mm. There is evidence that the meals Gigi and Unpronounceable and their followers shared in the Saxon court were not always peaceful, and quarrels over the choicest cuts were frequent occurrences. Flesh from the tender bodies of young girls was regarded as the sole preserve of the highest ranks. The rest had to make do with the meat and bones of boys and adults. Oh, damn. The cannibals the cannibal pursuits of both Gigi and Unpronounceable were finally brought to an end at the hands of assassins. Another triad states that it was 2 brothers, the sons of a bard with the singular name, oh dear God, meaning learning drinker, who killed the pair. Though whether together or on separate occasions is unknown. The legend merely indicates that Unpronounceable was killed. Wow, someone the son of someone else, while Gigi was slain by Daifadel, the son of same unpronounceable name as son of blah 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 before. Soon their memories would be almost completely obliterated by the fame of the Simri warrior Arthur, who had so vigorously opposed them. However, a curious rumor persisting for years after they were dead, which said that their bodies were actually eaten by some of those other Saxons who had not long before shared their cannibal feasts, seemed to be without any foundation whatsoever.